What's up everybody, welcome to Mograph. My name is Matt, and in today's video, Summit 13, we're going to be making this cool sci-fi ripple. It looks cool for like maybe a sci-fi movie or some kind of modern intro to something. I don't know. Yeah, this is basically it. It's really easy to make. I'll show you how to make some cool, realistic looking materials and also introduce you to the Mograph shader, which is actually doing this whole animation. So yeah, it looks pretty cool. I just threw some music behind there just to give you guys an idea. But yeah, I mean, I think that looks pretty cool. But yeah, I mean, if you did like some faster camera movements and stuff like that, you know, you'd have a really cool effect, I think. And if you put like titles for some movie, I don't know. I was thinking like a Vin Diesel movie or something, maybe even Tom Cruise, dare I say. But anyway, so let's jump into Cinema 4D and I'll show you how to make this. It should be pretty quick. So I'll just open up Cinema 4D. And yeah, the only thing you're going to actually need for this video is just a paper texture. So I just grabbed this off Google. And this is going to help us make some realistic materials. So if you want to go do that, that'd be cool. But yeah, you can just type in paper texture and pretty much get something decent. I'd shoot for a higher resolution if possible. So inside Cinema 4D, let's go up into our primitives and just create a cube. Really easy. In your attributes for your cube, let's turn on the fillet. And we're going to just turn our radius down until we have like, and also our subdivisions down till we have like this nice corner, you know. Well, it doesn't really look like a corner. Actually, I'm also going to let's see, what am I going to do? Delete my Fong tag. That's normally for low poly stuff, but this is just going to give us that kind of harder looking like diamond edge, which I think is going to look cool for this effect. So yeah, let's do that, and then let's turn our Y size down. Let's shoot for maybe like 20. And this is going to be the top of like our glowing tile right up here, as you can see. And then we'll make this cool bluing, like a blue glowing texture underneath it. So just duplicate your cube. I'm actually going to name this top. And holding command on your keyboard, just drag top out. And we're going to name this bottom. And turn your size for Y up to maybe like 400 or 500. We're going to want it to be a lot taller than our other one. And then I'm going to set my size X and size Z to 190, just so it will be smaller than the tile that it has on the top. So Command R on your keyboard to do a quick preview. And you should have something similar to this. You know, this isn't going to be like a super intricate video or anything, but it's a cool effect. So I hope you guys like it. Let's go into our materials over here. Just double click to create a new material. In your material editor, turn off your color. So just do that. Turn your diffusion on, and we're going to turn on effect luminance and effect reflection, and turn off effect specular. Okay, so this is where we're going to add that paper texture I was just telling you about. And what you can either do is just drag your paper texture from whatever, like if you have it on your desktop or in a folder, you can just drag it over here and drop it and just say yes to that into your texture area. Or you can actually go and click this and browse through your folders and find it like that. So there we go. I got my paper texture in here. All right, so right off the bat, we're not going to see a change, but when we turn on our luminance channel, you will see that paper texture. And you can right click your window here and set it to a larger window size. So I set it to huge, which doesn't really look that huge to me, but you can see it a little better. So now let's go into our luminance options, and I'm going to turn my texture on to a Fresnel. And this will just create a nice smooth gradient for us. And now double click this little material right here, and we're going to create like that nice kind of gem-like glow. So I'm going to do like a cyan and a light blue like always, because it's just a nice color scheme, you know, like this always looks cool. It looks like that that OSX Mavericks color scheme, actually, now that I'm looking at it. And so now just click over here on your luminance options. We're going to turn our brightness up to like let's say 130. And you won't see a difference in here, but we're going to be using this material as actually the light for our scene. So what that's going to do is we won't need to add any like lights or any light kits to get like a really nice looking animation. So that's always nice. So now let's go into our reflections options and turn that on. And as you can see, we have this nice kind of like water looking thing. Turn your brightness down to maybe like 35 looks good to me. We're going to add a Fresnel to this. So go click Fresnel, and I'm going to turn this to, let's see, 36. So actually, I'm going to do 35. So I'm just going to set this to the same as my brightness for my reflection. So I haven't talked about this in other videos, you may or may not know about it, but this bump option here will actually add a texture to your material. So instead, I'll actually show you right now. So if I drag and drop that material on here, it looks pretty cool. So I'll do that, and as you can see, we have this nice color, and we have a nice gradient to it and whatnot, but we don't have like the texture. Like you see these little dots, but you don't see the actual like dimple or whatever you'd call it into the material. So if you go into your material manager and turn on your bump map, you can actually grab that same texture that we used for the diffusion layer. Just say yes and turn your strength. Your strength is gonna tell you like how much of an indent it's gonna make in your material. So I'm just gonna turn this up to 87, I guess. And now when we zoom in, well, it's kind of hard to tell. At least I can kind of see it. You see like there's like more. I don't know. It's really hard to see, but it looks cool. You'll probably be able to tell more on your screen, but you're actually going to have like an indent in your material. So that's just going to make things look a little bit more realistic. Yeah, I think you can probably tell in this screencast, but it's always a good look. So I like that. If you do Command R, what you're going to see is the top of this has like a totally different light. And what that is if you go into your render settings, clicking this icon right up here, go down into your options. Let's turn our, default light, this option right here, off. And when we do that, we're not going to have this like ambient glow that Cinema 4D like will put on all the objects. So if I do a quick preview again, we're not going to be able to see the top because the top doesn't have a material and there's no lights in the scene now. So I mean, if I create a quick light and put it over there or something, do Command R, you'll see it's now now that we've added the light to the scene, we're going to be able to see our object. So I do not want a light in the scene, and I'm going to be adding like a ceramic tile texture to the top of this tile, I guess. So I'm going to just duplicate this material like that, and I'm going to turn on the color layer, and I'm going to go and select a texture as a Fresnel. There we go. And I'm going to make this like a dark, like I'm going to use black and maybe like a darkish gray. Go into my diffusion. I'm going to click this option, Effect Specular. So it's really subtle, but you'll see like you have this white glow right here. When you turn that on, it's going to get a little darker. Go into your specular options. Let's turn our mode to metal. And once again, it gets a little bit more darker. We're now going to go into our bump, and I'm going to actually turn this down. I want it a little bit smoother on top. I'm going to turn it to maybe 15. In my reflection, I'm going to turn this up. There we go, 76. That looks good. My luminance channel, I'm going to change to really dark to kind of match my material, my color. So I'm going to have this nice like dark metal texture, I guess. I don't even know what to say. Yeah, so you have this kind of look, hopefully. Is my reflection? Yeah, my reflection looks good. I like that. And I'm going to just drop this on top of my tile in Command R, and we're going to see it's really subtle, but it'll look better once we have a lot in there. As you can see, we have this nicer, very sci-fi looking textures to everything. I'm also actually going to go into my matte, and on my luminance channel, I'm going to set my mix mode to add. And ooh, I'm going to actually turn that down. Was that the right option? Multiply? Yeah, multiply. Sorry, not add. But it's just going to make our material really pop. So set that to multiply, and it should make our scene just a little bit better. Cool. So that's perfect. So now what we're going to do is put our two materials into a null object, Alt-G on your keyboard. I'm going to name this object tile. And I'm going to go and grab my Mograph cloner by clicking this option right here, drop my tile in it, and we're going to get this stupid linear stack. Go into your cloner modes and change this to a grid array. So immediately we get this giant version. It looks like I didn't realize they blended all together like that, but that looks stupid. So under your count settings on your cloner, you're going to have X option, Y option, and Z option. So let's change our Y option, the second one, to 1. So that's going to create just a flat surface for us, and only clones are going to go on the X and Z axis, which is what we want. So let's turn our count for our X position up to 20. And I don't know if you can see, but you're going to get like 1,000,000 copies because they're all stacked on each other. We have to change another option in a second. And on my Z axis, I'm going to change that to 20. So once again, we're going to get, now we have a ton of these like mini grids popping up everywhere, which I think you can see. And how we're going to get those separated is we're going to change our size options right here. So I think what you can do, I think we set it, let me just see. So we're just going to drag this up until you'll be able to see like gaps in between all your clones. So just keep going until they separate and you can kind of see the texture underneath. And I'm going to leave it with a little bit of a gap. I think that looked cool. So it looks like just some science fiction tiles or something. I don't know. Let's see. That looks good to me. So in my cloner options, I'm just going to copy whatever number that wound up as and paste it into my Z option over here. And we should get a perfect grid if you do that. So if I was to do Command R on my keyboard, let's see how that's looking. Command R, and as you can see, in no time at all, we have this really cool like science fiction tile, which I like. But we're going to take this effect even a little bit further, and we're going to add a shader to this that's going to just like really quickly and easily like lift up our columns, our tiles, and create that cool effect, like the cool science fiction ripple effect. So just click your cloner, go up into your Mograph, go into your effector, and select a shader. So when you do that, I don't know if you can see, but you're going to immediately get a change on your cloners. So if I go effector, shader, they all get duplicated. I think it sizes up. Yeah, it does. So your scale gets turned up. Just turn on your shader options, turn your scale down right here, and it's going to go back to normal. What we're going to be using this shader for is to actually lift our material up as our shader goes over it. So your default shader setting, if you go to your fall off, is going to be set to infinite. So that means, here, I'll just do a quick example. If I turn my position up to like Y, you can see, well, you can't see it. It's basically going to always affect our area. That makes no sense. I'm sorry, guys. But anyway, go into your fall off, and if it's infinite, it's just going to affect everything, and we don't want that. So I'm going to set my mode to a sphere, like that, and I'll zoom in a little bit. And you're going to want to turn your size up, and you might have to lift it up to actually see what you're changing, and you're going to have this this circle-looking thing. I'm going to set this to like 350, 350, and 350. There we go. So as long as you have your parameter set to like some kind of change in Y, which is what I want to change. I want to change the height of my object. So when I drag my shader over it, it's actually going to lift up the objects. And there's a lot of cool stuff you can do with this. I think I'm going to put up a video tomorrow of another cool use for the shader. But this one's just for today. But as you can see, when I drag it over my clones, it's going to affect them by lifting them up on the Y. Likewise, you can change like your rotation or something. So now whenever I drag my clone over there, they lift up. So as you can see, if you haven't used this before, it's a really cool effect and it's kind of fun to play around with. But I'm just going to stick to lifting up my objects. So I'm going to set this to 400. I want it to lift up a lot. I'm going to go into my fall off and actually turn this effect up a lot more. I want it to affect more of this area. So, sorry, I really don't know. I always say sorry for videos. I don't know why. But yeah, I never know what to say. It's just kind of fun to put these videos up, so I do. So just drag your shader off your clones. So I'm just going to drag it over here. And you should have an icon right here to create a keyframe. So just have it set to 0 and go and click that, and that's going to create a keyframe for our selected object. And I'm going to make my composition a little bit longer to 10 seconds. And I'm going to go over to somewhere later in the video, so to like 8 seconds. And I'm just going to zoom out a little bit and drag my shader across. Whoopsie. I'm going to grab my shader and drag it across my whole material. As you can see, we're going to get this ripple effect. And then I'm going to click this button right here again and make another keyframe. Likewise, you can just create a keyframe for your coordinates on your shader, but this button is always easier. It just creates a keyframe for all your coordinates. So if I press play, well, it's going to go slow, but as you can kind of see, it's like lifting up all the objects as it goes across, which is cool. So we're just about there for this effect. And if I do a quick preview, we're going to have a nice effect. So Command R, and we're going to have nice metallic surfaces, and this is going to be casting a glow on everything. So I mean, you could like zoom in more, and let's see. My computer once again is going slow, but check that out. That looks really nice, I think. And obviously, if you have Cinema 4D R15, you can set it to a physical camera and probably even get an even nicer look. Or a worse look, I don't know. It actually looks identical. But as you can see, this material looks pretty realistic. I think it looks nice. So definitely start using textures for your stuff if you want to add like production value to it. So anyway, we're going to add one more effect and we will be all set with this video. So what we're going to do is just select your cloner and go into Mograph, go into Effector and set delay. So we're going to set our delay effector to the mode of spring. And so this is just going to create a little bit of a bounce as they get lifted up and put down, which once again looks pretty cool. So I'm sorry it's so hard to see, but yeah, so as you can see, as it passes, you have a nice ripple. Like if you look back here, when they get put back down after the shader has passed it, it kind of bounces back up. So I think that looks really nice. So there we go. That is how you create a sci-fi ripple for some kind of something. Yeah, and this was Matt from Mount Mograph. I got some more cool videos coming out this week, I think, or I hope. If you guys liked it, just drop me a comment or like this video. I'm trying to get better at explaining things. I don't think I'm doing much better, but anyway, yeah, get your learn on, guys. See ya.